It's autumn in Canada. 'Tis the season for corn mazes, outdoor activities, and of course, food. Hello, and welcome to On the Move. We are Matt and Betsy, and we're here in Prince Edward Island, Canada, exploring this beautiful province and sharing a bit of it with you. This past weekend was Canadian Thanksgiving here in Canada, and so we enjoyed some family time. Of course, we enjoyed some food. We'll get to a bit of that later, I think. And we enjoyed going out to a local attraction of ours here.
Yeah.
It's called the Chuckwagon.
Yeah, with a Chuckwagon and corn maze, I think, is the added part. This
time of year. Corn mazes, there's a few of them on the island here.
Yeah.
Quite popular.
Yeah.
I hadn't been to a corn maze since I was a teenager.
Yeah, me
Maybe
too.
once.
I think, we used to go like with my church youth group. I think I'd been to a few.
I can only think of one, but definitely we used to do that when we were younger.
Yeah.
And so we did the corn maze at our local Chuckwagon, and this is in Belfast, Prince Edward Island, by the way.
Yeah.
There's a place actually called the Chuckwagon.
Yeah.
And the corn maze there, it was fun.
It was good. So we, as in Matthew and I, went in together and kind of invited the girls to come along with us. Both of them went their separate ways. Our youngest was in and out fairly quickly, and our oldest was still not out when we got out, and we're pretty confident we did the whole thing. So I gave it a few minutes and said, maybe you should go in looking for her. So thankfully they have like this sort of bridge built thing at the entrance to the maze. So you can stand up on top and kind of look out into the maze, and you can see a few of the pathways going down through. And after, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so, I was thankful. I spotted her, I waved her down, and I said, just come through the corn. Which was good because she was enjoying it, but she said she was getting caught in several different loops. So she was tired at that point.
She is if either of our two are very rigid rule followers, our oldest is more so that way.
Yes.
And so at the beginning, they tell you not to cut through the corn, I think for the sake of the maze itself and for your own enjoyment.
And normally I wouldn't, except that we had sent you back in, you hadn't tracked her down yet, and I just wanted her to come out and be okay.
Yeah. So, I think there were a number of people in our shoes here that you go into it thinking, oh, this will be fun, a little
take
jaunt.
A few minutes.
But it's a good size. Like we got turned around at least three times.
And when you come out and you stand up on that bridge or lookout point, whatever you want to call it, it's significant size. Like it's a full size cornfield. So it was pretty big. Yeah. Thankfully, each of the ends and sides were bordered by like hedgerow. So if you reached trees on one end, you knew that was it. If you reached trees on another side, you knew that was it. And it was actually water, I think, out the back of it. So thankfully you could kind of orient yourself just knowing which end you had reached. Mm-hmm. And they had music playing at the main attraction park, which also gave us an auditory hint about where we were. Because the corn is a good 10 feet tall. Yeah. And thinking of like farmers and stuff that I grew up around, I know that with little children especially, it can be quite a safety concern to make sure they stay out of the corn. So when you're wandering into a cornfield purposefully with a maze, that's entirely different, but still, I always have that in the back of my mind. So our girls were fine.
But, my uncles, I remember that growing up, we would sometimes have gatherings like late summer. And if they were growing corn around the places, there was always the warning when you went there as little kids, don't go into the corn. Because as an adult, you just walk one row and eventually you're going to get out of it. Yeah. But kids don't necessarily have that, and they could very easily get disoriented or lost.
Especially, and like I think the main concern is also for like toddlers. And when you're talking connected cornfields, one farm field to the next, that can become a significant size. Anyway. The corn maze was great fun. Yeah, we were all tired when we were done.
I could tell there were others who were thinking like us, because I did see going into it, my second time going back searching for our oldest, there were parents with toddlers going in there, and they're getting, maybe a quarter of the way through, and they're starting to wear it, and I'm thinking, you might want to turn around with those ones. There's still a ways to go.
Yeah. So it was good fun though. I enjoyed myself, and it was a beautiful day. We've had gorgeous weather for the last week, which has been fantastic, including the Thanksgiving weekend. So at the Chuckwagon, there's also, we had never been before. And of course, our youngest had seen it in the summer and wanted to go, and we held her off until we knew the corn maze would be up and going. And we were delighted to discover there was lots of activities for a good age range.
Yeah,
it wasn't just for the young children. It was good. Yeah. So
we've been to places before that are kind of similar idea, like a blueberry orchard we've been to, and they've got a lot of little kid things to happen at those places, little climbers or little activities, or roll this maze through this. But there was a good variety of it there.
And we're just reaching the stage with our girls where they're 10, almost 11, and 13. So sometimes these things might look like fun, but they get into them and they can burn through them in an hour. But I think we put in a good 2 hours there. There was a fun little basketball court.
Yeah, we were taking notes on, so if you don't want to make like an asphalt or a cement pad, these guys did it with, I think they built a frame and then they put plywood down.
Yeah, which worked great.
I was impressed with how well that worked.
For basketball, There was what was he driving? What do you call that? A gator?
Yeah, like a four-wheeler kind of idea.
Gator with wagon pieces behind
carts
it, built out of carts. Yeah, built out of barrels.
Yeah.
And
Wheels
we'd seen that before at other parks, and I had kind of thought, I don't know if the girls will enjoy it, because it's usually a nice little calm ride through the park.
Like a train that kind of tours you around at 2 kilometers an hour.
This one. So I asked the guy just out of fun, I said, is there an age limit? He's like, no, not at all. So I climbed in with her. It was our oldest that I happened to ride with first. Oh my golly, we flew around that park. Like, I was expecting to see the back end skidding out, but he clearly knew what he was doing and had done it many times, because we were steady and safe all the way. But, well, safe maybe. I don't know. Wow. Anyway, it was fun.
Were there seatbelts?
Nope.
No. I didn't get in it myself. But there were these worn circles, 2 of them, out in the area, and I couldn't figure out what they were for, because there were no obstacles there or anything. Well, I learned watching these guys go on.
The gator goes, and the carts just follow behind.
And he
a few circles,
catching his own tail kind of thing.
Yeah, and then takes off. So that was great fun.
Yeah.
You can tell them about the what do you call it?
They built like a Ninja Warrior obstacle course. And again, often these things are built with little kids in mind, kind of like a playground jungle gym. No, this was an adult-sized warrior course going on.
But we're not talking crazy materials either. It's all done out of like 2x4s and plywood. They're just
very smartly built. Yeah. But they had some obstacles that were much easier, and they had some that were very challenging. Yes.
And some that you could, as a kid, you could just kind of climb across it and not necessarily do the intended activity. Yeah. But you were able to do it and have fun too.
Yeah, and they have a big, it was probably a 15-foot curved wall with a ledge on the top, so you can run up and grab. And so
it was good fun. There was lots of other things too. There was small hockey equipment. Hockey rink. That's the word.
Well, they had equipment there for it too, of course.
The rink. And there was a few things that were closed just because of COVID-19. Anything that required too much handling of equipment, those were closed. Yeah. But I think we still had a great time regardless. Yeah. There were some smaller mazes to watch.
A puzzle, it's basically, you could only turn which direction?
Left.
Was it only left?
Or don't turn left.
Don't turn left.
Geez.
Only right.
Now I don't know.
Yeah, you could only turn right.
I don't know.
And so when you get into it initially, this is going to be easy, and then you realize, I can only turn one direction. This takes some problem solving. Once you figure it out, it's okay.
Well, it was easy for you. I never did. I followed you.
You figured it out by the end.
Sort of. Yeah. So there was that. And then they give you you get a ticket, and you get one shot out of what do they call it?
Well, I know it is
cannon.
It's a potato cannon. Is what it is.
It was a corn cannon. They shove corn down a tube that is attached to, is it air compressor?
Yeah.
to the air compressor, and then of course you push the button and you're aiming at 3 different targets that they have.
This is high power.
Holy cow! Yeah, it surprised us all at first. That first shot.
Yeah, like if you really wanted to, you could make that thing go probably, I don't know, 250 meters, like
it was pretty good. Yeah.
300 feet, that sort of thing. Like a long ways you could get these.
So again, you can have a little kid go up and just shoot it, or you can actually like try and I think there's awards if you.
Yeah, they have 3 like targets set up with holes in them. I think they're like colored tractors on them. And if you get it through the hole, they'll give you a free T-shirt.
Well, we figured out why. That's not that easy to do.
I did it and I thought, oh, it pulls to the one side. So I told Lucy that, and then she went the other way.
But anyway, we had a great time. It was fun. I'm sure there's other activities there that we missed that we didn't even get them all done. Because by the time we came out of the corn maze, we were hungry and we were tired. So we called it a day at that point.
Yeah. And attached to it then, what we knew of the Chuckwagon for the most part throughout the summer was they actually have a market there.
Yes.
A small little market. So they have a few artisan things.
Well, I think the first thing that brought us in was ice cream.
Well, yeah, and they serve the ADL, the Amalgamated Dairies Limited. They're
ice cream.
Part of that dairy crawl that we were doing. So we went there first for that, and it was delicious. They shut the ice cream down for this time.
No, it was still there.
I thought it was empty.
No.
Oh.
There was definitely.
And we didn't get ice cream?
Well, we needed to have lunch.
Right. Yeah, we hadn't had lunch.
We hadn't had lunch. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then they have some fresh vegetables and produce and things that are from local as well.
Yeah. And then some local artisan crafts on the other side as well that they carry, as well as just some of your standard touristy knickknacks.
And then there is like a small restaurant. I think
it's called the Pit, the barbecue pit. Right now, this time of year, its hours are definitely decreased. We think we haven't caught it open for sure yet, but on the weekends, I think it's Saturday and Sunday evenings. Yes. But clarify that if you're here to do that. Yeah. There is also like they have a service window, so we did notice we could have bought pizza. There was families getting pizza out the service window. Then you can eat outside on the picnic tables and stuff. So we just chose not to do that day. But there is some food there available if you're there with your family over a meal that you can definitely get some pizza.
So far in either the summer or the fall seasons, we definitely recommend if you're in the Belfast area, come to the Chuckwagon.
Yeah, and it is open. The activities are open in the summer as well.
Yes.
Just not the corn maze.
On the weekends, that is. They don't open all those activities weekdays for the most part.
Because it's staffed. So they actually have staff there. Of course, setting things up, running the corn cannon, driving the things, and I would say they're like teenagers to young college age that they had doing most of the activities.
Smiling, enjoying themselves, being pleasant.
We were served this summer by a very lovely young lady in the ice cream
market.
She was a sweet girl. So
And then we've learned there is the Chuckwagon, there is actually a small residence, and then right beside that is the Country Taste Kitchen and Bakery, which is now sort of an offshoot or a growth of that business there. And if you're looking for some tasty treats or some nice sandwiches for lunch.
Definitely with like a European flair to it.
Yeah, this is the place to go. Yeah. I think what I enjoyed even more than the food, which is strange for me saying because I enjoy food a whole lot, they have built recently a gazebo that comes out the front. There's a pathway that comes down to it. Beautiful open air place to just enjoy your food and relax there.
Fancy coffees. They serve fancy coffees as well. My favorite that I've had there so far was their honey BLT sandwich. I think I've had it twice now. It was delicious. Definitely.
I think it has pine nuts on it too.
So good. So European flair sandwiches. They'll do some egg sandwiches, focaccia.
Some breakfast style stuff too.
So it was really good. And then variety of drinks, cold drinks, hot drinks. Just a nice, cute, quaint little place to go if you're looking for something. And it's kind of fun because you're driving down the highway and you really are kind of out in the middle of the country. And
it's right on the Trans-Canada Highway as you're going south through the East Point Drive, which comes right through Belfast there. So you'll see it as you're coming south on the right-hand side, or if you're coming up from the ferry, you can see it on your left-hand side there.
Yeah.
And then desserts too. We had this chocolate cake from it was really more like a brownie, like
and like
thick,
large
decadent.
portion. We cut it 4 ways.
Yeah, we got one portion 4 ways, and it was more than enough.
Yeah, and I've seen lots of other sort of fancy European pastries. We haven't dug into those too much because both times we've gone for lunch, and just as a general rule, we often don't get dessert when we're out for lunch. So if you want dessert, you go for dessert because it just ends up being too much.
Yeah. And I know too, they're wonderful people in there. That I have a story from that. We have friends of ours who wanted to treat us to lunch because they were away and couldn't come and see us. And so they looked and found this place. We already knew about it, but they found it and they talked to the people on the phone and they were willing to work with them.
They were trying to have food delivered to us.
Yeah.
And discovered that where we're located, there's not really delivery going on out here.
So they over the phone arranged with them that they would have our meal paid for, and we walked in the door and they're like, we know who you are and what you're here for.
So that was great.
Yes. Yeah, so great, willing staff to work with you on a variety of things, I'm sure, because that was a good experience as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all in all, pretty close. That's all actually very close to home for us. It's within about 10 minutes of our place, maybe even a little less. So it's always lovely to find these little gems as we go out and continue to explore. And we hope that you will as well, as we sort of pass on the information. That's our hope, that you will be able to find your way around and find these little gems. And we're going to keep searching for more as we go.
And we'll share them with you as we find them.
Yeah.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks for watching.
See you guys soon.
Bye.